Hello, good evening, and welcome. So, tonight we are getting back into The New Atlantis by Sir Francis Bacon. And also, um, so yeah, my math skills are super strong. That doesn't resonate to 4. I gotta say it because when I looked at it like after I streamed tonight, it resonates to 3. Okay, so yeah, but I mean, all that stuff I said about 4 still I feel, but right, this does resonate to 3, which is cool too. I like that. 3s. So yeah, The New Atlantis. We got about halfway through. It's a super tiny book. It's just not written in well, I mean it's written in English, but it's a different time. So it's a different kind of comprehension while I'm reading it. And there's lots of really cool old words in here. So yeah, we're starting at the top of page 24 today, and we're going to finish it out. So here we go. We took ourselves now for freemen, seeing there was no danger of our utter perdition, and lived most joyfully, going abroad and seeing what was to be seen in the city and places adjacent within our teder, and obtaining acquaintance with many of the city, not of the meanest quality, at whose hands we found such humanity and such a freedom and desire to take strangers, as it were, into their bosom, as was enough to make us forget all that was dear to us in our own countries. And continually we met with many things right worthy of observation and relation, as indeed, if there be a mirror in the world worthy to hold men's eyes, it is that country. So there's 2 words in here that I'm already going to look up, right? Hi, cool gamer. Welcome in, man. Or lady. Or whoever, right? So, okay. Perdition. The road to perdition. Well, let's just look it up anyways, right? I think I have an idea about what that means, but let's solidify it. Oh, yeah, I was looking at Mary Magdalene today. Boop. Boop. Okay. Perdition. Definition. In Christian theology, a state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes after death. Perdition. It's heavy, man. A state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes after death. And then the other word that I want to look up. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's in here, and I never saw it before, I don't think. Bosom was enough to make us forget all. And indeed, observation and relation. What? Whose hands found such humanity, freedom, desire to take strangers to the bosom was enough to make forget all desire. Our dear country, and continually we met with many things right worthy of observation and relation. Indeed, a mirror worthy. What? Most joyfully going abroad and seeing what was to be seen in a city and place adjacent to our teder, within our teder. Tedder. It was at the beginning. Oops. Teder definition. What does the word teder mean? One that teds specifically. A machine for stirring and spreading hay to hasten drying and curing. A teder. Oh, I've seen those before on an old documentary about hemp, actually. A machine for stirring and spreading hay to hasten drying and curing. Teder. Yeah, there's like a flipping process thereafter, too. Okay, cool. Cool. Delaney, Rose, yay! That way, welcome in, you guys. Everyone. Now and later. Yeah, I put some fresh ginger in my tea. So, shoot. I should do a stream where I just like chitty chat too, because now that I see all you people that I love here, I want to talk about the stuff that I was doing today, but let's get into this. So, oh wait, adjacent within our tedder. That doesn't make any sense to me then. Oh no. And obtaining acquaintance with many of the city. Tedder. Okay, one that TEDs, specifically tedder definition. Stirring and spreading hay. Is there another one? Is there more definition? Please. Murder was incorrect. Hay growing. Maybe that's what it means about hay. Going abroad and seeing what was to be seen in the city and places adjacent within our tedder. I don't think that's what it means. Within our tedder, like within our vicinity. Right? Yeah, our field. Blue! Welcome. Yay! Oh my God. Oh, welcome, Jen. Welcome back. All right, to the next paragraph. It's already been 7 minutes and I read one paragraph. Okay. One day, there were 2 of our company bidden to a feast of the family, as they call it. Feast and family are both capitalized. A most natural, pious, and reverend custom it is, shewing that nation to be compounded of all goodness. This is the manner of it. It is granted to any man that shall live to see 30 persons descended of his body alive together, and all above 3 years old, to make this feast, which is done at the cost of the state. The father of the family, whom they call the Tursan, 2 days before the feast, taketh to him 3 of such friends as he liketh to choose, and is assisted also by the governor of the city or place where the feast is celebrated, and all the persons of the family of both sexes are summoned to attend him. These 2 days the Tursan sitteth in consultation concerning the good estate of the family. There, if there be any discord or suits between any of the family, they are compounded and appeased. There, if any of the family be distressed or decayed, order is taken for their relief and competent means to live. There, if any be subject to vice or take ill courses, they are reproved and censured. So likewise, direction is given touching marriages and the courses of life, which any of them should take, with divers other the like orders and advices. With divers other the like orders and advices. Maybe I'll understand it when I listen back. I didn't get that last bit there. The governor assisteth to the end to put in execution by his public authority the decrees and orders of the Tursan, if they should be disobeyed, though that seldom needeth such reverence and obedience they give to the order of nature. The Tursan doth also then ever choose one man from among his sons to live in house with him, who is called ever after the son of the vine. The reason will hereafter appear. Okay, good, because I mean, doesn't it make you think of bloodlines? Or that's what it made me think of. Oh, man. On the feast day, The father, or terson, cometh forth, after divine service, into a large room where the feast is celebrated, which room hath an half pace at the upper end. Against the wall, in the middle of the half pace, is a chair placed for him, with a table and carpet before it. Over the chair is a state, made round or oval, and it is of ivy, an ivy somewhat whiter than ours, like the leaf of a silver asp, but more shining, for it is green all winter. And the state is curiously wrought with silver and silk of divers colors, broiling or binding in the ivy, and is ever of the work of some of the daughters of the family, and veiled over at the top with a fine net of silk and silver. But the substance of it is true ivy, whereof, after it is taken down, the friends of the family are desirous to have some leaf or sprig to keep. Oh my gosh. Um, One of my friends, this girl I knew, she had moved into a new house, and after they had moved there, she messaged me because they had found juniper, fresh juniper boughs laid at their doorstep, and she was actually concerned. She didn't know what it meant, and when she contacted me about it, she thought that it was some sort of like hoodoo voodoo curse or something. And it's I mean it does like tie to uh what would you call that, like occult or Wiccan or a more ancient religion times, but it's actually a blessing. And then I'm thinking to myself, who in this town knows that and did that? I want to meet them. That'd be so cool. And even cool, I mean, like, so cool too that she reached out to me and thought of me. That's really cool. I saw her today on the street. She's looking so cute, right? She's taking care of herself. That was fresh ginger. Okay. The son of the vine, right? Okay. Or no, all the ivy. Okay. Here we are. The terson cometh forth with all his generation or lineage, the males before him, and the females following him. And if there be a mother from whose body the whole lineage is descended, there is a traverse placed in a loft above on the right hand of the chair, with a privy door, and a carved window of glass, leaded with gold and blue, where she sitteth, but is not seen. When the terson is come forth, he sitteth down in the chair, and all the lineage place themselves against the wall, both at his back and upon the return of the half pace, in order of their years without difference of sex, and stand upon their feet. When he is set, the room being always full of company, but well kept and without disorder, after some pause, there cometh in from the lower end of the room a taraton, which is as much as a herald, and on either side of him 2 young lads, whereof one carrieth a scroll of their shining yellow parchment, and the other a cluster of grapes of gold, with a long foot or stalk. The herald and children are clothed with mantles of sea-water green satin, but the herald's mantle is streamed with gold and hath a train. Wow, what a procession. When the herald with 3 courtesies, or rather inclinations, cometh up as far as the half pace, and there first taketh into his hand the scroll. This scroll is the king's charter, containing gifts of revenue. Is that how you spell revenue? Oh, or maybe that's the way they used to spell it. Cool. Revenew. Let's start again. This scroll is the king's charter, containing gifts of revenue, and many privileges, exemptions, and points of honor granted to the father of the family, and is ever styled and directed To such do one, our well-beloved friend and creditor. To such do one, our well-beloved friend and creditor, which is a title proper only to this case. For they say the king is debtor to no man, but for propagation of his subjects. The seal set to the king's charter is the king's image, embossed and molded in gold. And though such charters be expedited, of course, and as of right, yet they are varied by discretion, according to the number of dignity of the family. This charter the herald readeth aloud, and while it is read, the father or terson standeth up, supported by two of his sons, such as he chooseth. Then the herald mounteth the half pace, and delivereth the charter into his hand, and with that there is an acclamation by all that the present. Let's try again. And with that, there is an acclamation by all that there are present in their language, which is thus much. Happy are the people of Ben-Salem. Then the herald taketh into his hand from the other child the cluster of grapes, which is of gold, both the stalk and the grapes. But the grapes are daintily enameled, and if the males of the family be the greater number, the grapes are enameled purple, with a little sunset on the top. If the females, then they are enameled into a greenish yellow, with a crescent on the top. The grapes are in number as many as there are descendants of the family. This gold cluster the herald delivereth also to the terson, who presently delivereth it over to that son that he had formerly chosen to be in house with him, who beareth it before his father as an ensign of honor when he goeth in public ever after, and is thereupon called the son of the vine. So, wow, okay, wine, vino, vine, wine. I still think about blood and bloodlines. I think that's what that represents. Maybe. After the ceremony endeth, the father or terson retireth, and after some time cometh forth again to dinner, where he sitteth alone under the state, as before, and none of his descendants sit with him, of what degree or dignity soever, except he hap to be of Salomon's house. He is served only by his own children, such as are male, who perform unto him all service of the table upon the knee, and the women only stand about him, leaning against the wall. The room below the half pace hath tables on the sides for the guests that are bidden, who are served with great and comely order, and towards the end of dinner, which in the greatest feasts with them lasteth never above an hour and a half, there is a hymn sung, varied according to the invention of him that composeth it. What a way to say that! For they have excellent poesy. But the subject of it is, always, the praises of Adam and Noah and Abraham, whereof the former two peopled the world, and the last was the father of the faithful. Father and faithful both capitalized. Concluding ever with the thanksgiving for the nativity of our Savior, in whose birth the births of all are only blessed. Jackie! Yay! Welcome in. I miss you. Awesome. Oh. Let's see if I can do this without getting a mouthful of ginger. I just have to remember that it's there. Yeah. In whose birth the births of all are only blessed. Dinner being done, the terson retireth again, and having withdrawn himself alone into a place where he makes some private prayers, he cometh forth the third time to give the blessing with all his descendants, who stand about him as at the first. Then he calleth them forth by one and by one, by name, as he pleaseth. Though seldom the order of age be inverted, the person that is called, the table being before removed, kneeleth down before the chair, and the father layeth his hand upon his head, or her head, and giveth the blessing in those words, Son of Ben-Salem, or daughter of Ben-Salem, thy father with it. The man by whom thou hast breath and life speaketh the word. The blessing of the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, and the Holy Dove be upon thee, and make the days of thy pilgrimage good and many. This he saith to every of them. And that done, if there be any of his sons of eminent merit and virtue, so they be not above two, he calleth for them again, and saith, laying his arm over their shoulders, they standing, Sons, it is well ye are born. Give God the praise, and persevere to the end. And withal delivereth to either of them a jewel made in the figure of an ear of wheat, which they ever after wear in the front of their turban or hat. This done, they fall to music and dances and other recreations after their manner. For the rest of the day, this is the full order of that feast. Wow. As I was reading that, I got this great sense of reverence for those who have come before us. My family, your family. And even when we lose our way, we're never lost, you know? We're all doing the best that we know how. So any moment is the moment for us to take responsibility for our own selves. And our ancestors are always here helping us. Man, can you imagine being a part of a ceremony like that though, and feeling it, and like, wow. Where the heck am I? I have no idea. Okay, all right. I'll find it. Yeah, what was I just reading about? Oh yeah, all that cool stuff. And this is the full order of the feast. Yeah. It's steaming my glasses up. By that time, 6 or 7 days were spent. I was fallen into straight acquaintance with a merchant of that city, whose name was Jaubin. He was a Jew and circumcised, for they have some few stirps, STIRPS. All right, we'll look at it in a second. For they have some few stirps of Jews yet remaining among them, whom they leave to their own religion, which they may the better do, because they are of a far differing disposition from the Jews in other parts. For whereas they hate the name of Christ, and have a secret inbred rancor against the people among whom they live, these contrariwise, I've never read that word before. I've only heard it. These contrariwise give unto our Savior many high attributes, and love the nation of Ben-Salem extremely. Surely this man of whom I speak would never acknowledge that Christ was born of a virgin, and that he was more than a man, and he would tell how God made him ruler of the seraphims which guard his throne. And they call him also the Milken Way, and the Eliah of the Messiah, and many other high names, which, though they be inferior to his divine majesty, yet they are far from the language of other Jews. Okay, so stirps. Do you guys know what that means? I don't. Let's find out. Stirp, 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 stirp. Okay, thank you, Webster Merriam-Webster. Stirp. Stirp. Definition. A line descending from a common ancestor. Cool. Okay. That's so cool. Stirp. A line descending from a common ancestor. Let's see how you say it. I wonder if I'm saying it right. Stirp. I hope I am. Stirp pronunciation. Boop, boop, ba-doop. How do you pronounce stirps?
Strips.
Oh.
Strips.
No, not strips. Stirps. It's got to be that, right? That's what we're going with. Oh, hey, here's an actual stirps.
Stirps.
Bam. All right. Okay. Stirp, 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 stirps. Lineage. Cool. And for the country of Ben Salem, this man would make no end of commending it, being desirous, by tradition among the Jews there, to have it believed that the people thereof were of the generations of Abraham, by another son, whom they call Nacharan, and that Moses, by the secret Kabbalah, ordained the laws of Ben Salem, which they now use, and that when the Messiah should come and sit in his throne at Hierusalem, 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 at the throne of Jerusalem, the king of Ben Salem should sit at his feet, whereas other kings should keep a great distance. But yet, setting aside these Jewish dreams, the man was a wise man, and learned, and of great policy, and excellently seen in the laws and customs of that nation. Amongst other discourses, one day I told him I was much affected with the relation I had from some of the company of their custom in holding the feast of the family, for that methought I had never heard of a solemnity wherein nature did so much preside, and because propagation of families proceedeth from the nuptial copulation, I desired to know of him what laws and customs they had concerning marriage, and whether they kept marriage well, and whether they were tied to one wife, for that where population is so much affected, and such as with them it seemed to be, there is commonly permission of plurality of wives. Hmm. To this he said, "You have reason to commend that excellent institution of the feast of the family. And indeed, we have experienced that those families that are partakers of a blessing of that feast do flourish and prosper ever after in an extraordinary manner. But hear me now, and I will tell you what I know. You shall understand that there is not under the heavens so chaste a nation as this of Ben Salem, nor so free from all pollution or foulness. It is the virgin of the world. I remember I have read in one of your European books of an holy hermit amongst you that desired to see the spirit of fornication. And there appeared to him a little foul, ugly Aethiop. 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 It's capitalized. But if he had desired to see the spirit of chastity of Ben Salem, it would have appeared to him in the likeness of a fair, beautiful cherubim. Okay, so I have to start at the last sentence here, but Aethiop. Awesome, Jen, right? Sinking, cyclical energy. So cool. Aethiop. Bird-a-doo-poo-poo. Aethiop. Oh, it says Ethiopia. Aethiop. Definition. In terms, Aethiops, Ethiop, or Ethiop are archaic words for a dark-skinned person, often from Ethiopia. Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, so where does it say that? Aethiop, the last sentence, right? There appeared to him a foul, ugly Aethiop. But, okay, wait. If he had desired to see the spirit of chastity of Ben Salem, it would have appeared to him in the likeness of a fair, beautiful cherubim. For there is nothing amongst mortal men more fair and admirable than the chaste minds of this people. Know, therefore, that with them there are no stews, no dissolute houses, no courtesans, nor anything of that kind. Nay, they wonder, with detestation, at you in Europe, which permit such things. They say ye have put marriage out of office, for marriage is ordained a remedy for unlawful concupiscence. Ow. Dang it. Concupiscence. Well. Oh, I never even came back, so I'm looking it up. Concupiscence, I think, but I don't remember what it means. Oh, does it mean, I don't know, does it mean sex? Let's find out. That's huge, and I think I've already gone awry. Where is it? CUPISC. Oh, CUPISC. There we go. Concupiscence, I think.
Concupiscence.
Nope. Shoot. Concupiscence. Strong sexual desire. Okay, yeah, I have heard that word before. Concupiscence. Or maybe I actually never heard it, but I think I've come across it and maybe looked it up in my lifetime. Who's to say? Concupiscence. All right. Thank you. We're always aiming to learn some more stuffs. Concupiscence. All right. They say ye have put marriage out of office, for marriage is ordained a remedy for unlawful concupiscence, and natural concupiscence seemeth as a spar to marriage. But when men have at hand a remedy more agreeable to their corrupt will, marriage is almost expulsed. Excuse me. And therefore, there are with you seen infinite men that marry not, but choose rather a libertine or impure single life, than to be yoked in marriage, and many that do marry, marry late, when the prime and strength of their years is past. And when they do marry, what is marriage to them but a very bargain, wherein is sought alliance, or portion, or reputation, with some desire, almost indifferent, of issue, and not the faithful nuptial union of man and wife that was first instituted. Neither is it possible that those that have cast away so basely so much of their strength should greatly esteem children, being of the same matter, as chaste men do. So likewise during marriage is the case much amended, as it ought to be, if those things were tolerated only for necessity. No, but they remain still as a very affront to marriage, the haunting of those dissolute places, or result to courtesans, are no more punished in married men than in bachelors. Hmm. And the depraved custom of change, and the delight in meretricious embracements. Meretricious. I mean, like something that's meritorious, right? We'll look it up, but meretricious embracements, where sin is turned into art, maketh marriage a dull thing, and a kind of imposition or tax. They hear you defend these things as done to avoid greater evils, as advoutries, deflowering of virgins, unnatural lust, and the like. But they say this is a preposterous wisdom, and they call it Lot's offer, who to save his guests from abusing offered his daughters. Nay, they say, Father, that there is little gained in this, for that the same vices and appetites do still remain and abound, unlawful lust being like a furnace, that if you stop the flames altogether, it will quench, but if you give it any vent, it will rage. As for masculine love, they have no touch of it, and yet there are not so faithful and inviolate friendships in the world again as are there. And to speak generally, as I said before, I have not read of any such chastity in any people as theirs. And their usual saying is that whosoever is unchaste cannot reverence himself, and they say that the reverence of a man's self is, next to religion, the chiefest bridle, the chiefest bridle of all vices. Oh no. Bridle? BRIDLE. The chiefest bridle of all vices. That's a lot to take in. Interesting. So, right, there's words in here. Meritus. All right, let's find out. Yeah, merit, right? That's what I'm thinking too. Oh, it's meretricious. Meretricious. Apparently attractive, but having in reality no value or integrity. Ooh. It's an illusion. Archaic. Relating to the characteristic of a prostitute. Wow. Meretricious. That is, what a word. Apparently attractive, but having in reality no value or integrity. Meretricious souvenirs for their tourist trade. Relating to or characteristic of a prostitute. Wow. And then let my eyes. There was other words in here. Or one other. Oh. Advoutries. ADVOUTRIES. As done to avoid greater evils, as advoutries. deflowering of virgins, unnatural lust, and the like. Advoucheries. Look around my microphone. Advoucheries. R-I-E-S. Advoucheries definition. No, that's what I mean. Please look that up for me. Search instead advoucheries definition. Thank you. Advouchery, Wikipedia. It's spelled differently, but obsolete. Adultery. It means adultery. Interesting. As advoucheries, deflowering, okay, of virgins, unnatural lust, and the like. Wow. Old words. I like it. So I made my way through. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Is it bridal? B-R-I-D-L-E. No, it's like a horse, like a bridle. The chiefest bridle of all vices. Rain, the rain. Huh, cool. All right, back to YouTube, y'alls. And when he had said this, the good Jew paused a little, whereupon I, far more willing to hear him speak on than to speak myself, yet thinking it decent that upon his pause of speech I should not be altogether silent, said only this, that I would say to him, as the widow of Sarepta said to Elias, that he was come to bring to memory our sins, and that I confess the righteousness of Bensalem was greater than the righteousness of Europe. At which speech he bowed his head and went on his manner. Hey, that helped me. All of that helped me. Yeah, dude. I don't want to be a part of third party situations. I don't like it. Okay. Okay. Did I just turn the page? Is that what happened? All vices, brittle, blah, blah, blah. No. Sins. At which speech he bowed his head and went on in this manner. Okay, and then he's about to say something. My bad. I misunderstood. They have also many wise and excellent laws touching marriage. They allow no polygamy. They have ordained that none do intermarry or contract until a month be passed from their first interview. Marriage without consent of parents they do not make void, but they mulct in it the inheritors. MILCT. For the children of such marriages are not admitted to inherit above a third part of their parents' inheritance. I have read in a book of one of your men of a fiend commonwealth, where the married couple are permitted, before they contract, to see one another naked. This they dislike, for they think it a scorn to give a refusal after so familiar knowledge, but because of many hidden defects in men and women's bodies, they have a more civil way, for they have near every town a couple of pools, which they call Adam and Eve's pools, where it is permitted to one of the friends of the men and another of the friends of the women to see them severely bathed severally bathed naked. To see them severally bathed naked. Okay, so severally. Well, look, it's like Severally. And then this one up here, there was a word that I didn't know. Oh, Yeah, where is it? Mulct. M-U-L-C-T. There's so many weird words. Okay. Well, they're not really weird. I just don't know them. M-U-L-C-T. A definition. Milked. Extract money from someone by fine or taxation. A fine or compulsory payment. Milked.
Mulked. Mulked.
Mulked.
Mulked.
Mulked. Milked. Mulked. Mulked. Okay. Cool. Severally? Hey, you do what I want. There we go. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
Severally.
Severally. So it's just like many times. Is that what they're saying? To see them severally bathed naked. I'm not sure. Okay. And as we were thus in conference, there came one that seemed to be a messenger, in a rich huke, that spake with the Jew. Whereupon he turned to me and said, You will pardon me, for I am commanded away in haste. The next morning he came to me again, joyful as it seemed, and said, There is a word come to the governor of the city, that one of the fathers of Solomon's house will be here this day 7 night. We have seen none of them this dozen years. His coming is in state, but the cause of his coming is secret. I will provide you and your fellows of a good standing to see his entry. I thanked him and told him I was most glad of the news. The day being come, he made his entry. He was a man of middle stature and age, comely of person, and had an aspect as if he pitied men. He was clothed in a robe of fine black cloth, with wide sleeves and a cape. His undergarment was of excellent white linen down to the front, girt with a girdle of the same, and a sindon or tippet of the same about his neck. He had gloves that were curious, and set with stone, and shoes of peach-colored velvet. His neck was bare to the shoulders. His hat was like a helmet, or Spanish montera, and his locks curled below it decently. They were of color brown. His beard was cut round, and of the same color with his hair, somewhat lighter. He was carried in a rich chariot without wheels, litter-wise, with 2 horses at either end, richly trapped in blue velvet embroidered, and 2 footmen on each side in the like attire. The chariot was all of cedar, gilt and adorned with crystals, save that the fore end had panels of sapphires, set in borders of gold, and the hinder end the like of emeralds, of the Peru color. There was also a sun of gold, radiant upon the top, in the midst, and on the top before, a small cherub of gold, with wings displayed. The chariot was covered with cloth of gold, tissued upon blue. He had before him 50 attendants, young men all, in white satin loose coats to the mid-leg, and stockings of white silk, and shoes of blue velvet, and hats of blue velvet, with fine plumes of diverse colors, set round like hat bands. HAT-BANDS. Oh, like a band for a hat. Next, before the chariot, went 2 men, bareheaded, in linen garments down to the foot, girt, and shoes of blue velvet, who carried, the one a crosier, the other a pastoral staff, like a sheep-hook, neither of them of metal, but the crosier of balm wood, the pastoral staff of cedar. Horsemen he had none, neither before nor behind his chariot, as it seemeth to avoid all tumult and trouble. Behind his chariot went all the officers and principals of the companies of the city. He sat alone upon cushions of a kind of excellent plush blue, and under his foot curious carpets of silk of diverse colors, like the Persian, but far finer. He held up his bare hand as he went, as blessing the people, but in silence. The street was wonderfully well kept, so that there was never any army had their men stand in better battle array than the people stood. Let's try that again. The street was wonderfully well kept, so that there was never any army had their men stand in better battle array than the people stood. The windows likewise were not crowded, but everyone stood in them as if they had been placed. When the shrew was past, the Jew said to me, I shall not be able to attend you, as I would, in regard of some charge the city hath laid upon me, for the entertaining of this great person. 3 days after the Jew came to me again, and said, Ye are happy men, for the father of Solomon's house taketh knowledge of your being here, and commanded me to tell you that he will admit all your company to his presence, and have private conference with one of you, that ye shall choose. And for this hath appointed the next day after tomorrow. And because he meaneth to give you his blessing, he hath appointed it in the forenoon. Tomorrow was spelled Tomorrow. Michael, welcome in, man. It's great to see you. We came at our day an hour, and I was chosen by my fellows for the private access. We found him in a fair chamber, richly hanged, and carpeted underfoot without any degrees to the state. He was set upon a low throne richly adorned, and a rich cloth of state over his head, of blue satin embroidered. He was alone, save that he had 2 pages of honor, on either hand one, finely attired in white. His undergarments were the like that we saw him wear in the chariot, but instead of his gown, he had on him a mantle with a cape of the same fine black fastened about him. When we came in, as we were taught, we bowed low at our first entrance, and when we were come near to his chair, he stood up, holding forth his hand ungloved, and in posture of blessing, and we, every one of us, stooped down and kissed the hem of his tippet. That done, the rest departed, and I remained. Then he warned the pages forth of the room, and caused me to sit down beside him, and spake to me thus in the Spanish tongue. God bless thee, my son. I will give thee the greatest jewel I have, for I will impart unto thee, for the love of God and men, a relation of the true state of Solomon's house. Son, to make you know the true state of Solomon's house, I will keep this order. First, I will set forth unto you the end of our foundation. Secondly, the preparations and instruments we have for our works. Thirdly, the several employments and functions whereto our fellows are assigned. And fourthly, the ordinances and rites which we observe. Oh my gosh. The end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and secret motions of things, and the enlarging of the bounds of human empire to the effecting of all things possible. The preparations and instruments are these. We have large and deep caves of several depths. The deepest are sunk 600 fathom, and some of them are digged and made under great hills and mountains, so that if you reckon together the depth of the hill and the depth of the cave, they are, some of them, above 3 miles deep. The Mammoth Caves, I love them. Okay. For we find that the depth of a hill and the depth of a cave from the flat is the same thing, both remote alike, from the sun and heaven's beams, and from the open air. These caves we call the lower region, and we use them for all coagulations, indurations, refrigerations, and conservations of bodies. What a way to say that. We use them likewise for the imitation of natural mines and the producing also of new artificial metals by compositions and materials which we use and lay there for many years. We use them also sometimes, which may seem strange, for curing of some diseases and for prolongation of life in some hermits that choose to live there, well accommodated of all things necessary, and indeed live very long, by whom also we learn many things. Wow. Trace B! Yay! Welcome! Asimo. We have burials in several earths, where we put diverse cements, as the Chineses do their porcelain. But we have them in greater variety, and some of them more fine. We have also great variety of composts and soils for the making of the earth fruitful. We have high towers, the highest about 1/2 mile in height, and some of them likewise set upon high mountains, so that the ventage of the hill with the tower is in the highest of them 3 miles at least. And these places we call the upper region, accounting the air between the high places and the low as the middle region. We use these towers according to their several heights and situations for insulation, refrigeration, conservation, and for the view of divers meteors, as winds, rain, snow, hail, and some of the fiery meteors also. And upon them, in some places, are dwellings of hermits, whom we visit sometimes and instruct what to observe. Meteors. We have great lakes, both salt and fresh, whereof we have use for the fish and fowl. We use them also for burials of some natural bodies, for we find a difference in things buried in earth or in the air below the earth, and things buried in water. We have also pools. Oh, wow, right? We have also pools, of which some do strain fresh water out of salt, and others by art do turn fresh water into salt. We have also some rocks in the midst of the sea, and some bays upon the shore for some works, wherein is required the air and vapor of the sea. We have likewise violent streams and cataracts, which serve us for many motions, and likewise energies for multiplying and enforcing of winds. And also, and set also on going diverse motions. This stuff is so cool. We have also a number of artificial wells and fountains made in imitation of the natural sources and baths, as tincted upon vitriol, sulfur, steel, brass, lead, nitrate, and other minerals. And again, we have little wells for infusions of many things, where the waters take the virtue quicker and better than in vessels or basins. And amongst them we have a water which we call water of paradise, being by what we do to it made very sovereign for health and prolongation of life. We have also great and spacious houses, where we imitate and demonstrate meteors, as snow, hail, rain, some artificial rains of bodies, and not of water, thunders, lightnings, also generations of bodies in air, as frogs, flies, and divers others. We have also certain chambers, which we call chambers of health, where we qualify the air as we think good and proper for the cure of divers diseases and preservation of health. We have also fair and large baths of several mixtures for the cure of diseases and the restoring of man's body from arefaction, and others for the confirming of it in strength of sinews, vital parts, and the very juice and substance of the body. We have also large and various orchards and gardens, wherein we do not so much respect beauty as variety of ground and soil, proper for divers trees and herbs, and some very spacious, where trees and berries are set whereof we make divers kinds of drinks, besides the vineyards. In these we practice likewise all conclusions of grafting, and inoculating as well of wild trees as fruit trees, which produceth many effects. How old is that word graft? I didn't know. And we make by art, in the same orchards and gardens, trees and flowers to come earlier or later than their seasons, and to come up and bear more speedily than by their natural course they do. We make them also by art greater much than their nature, and their fruit greater and sweeter, and of different taste, smell, color, and figure from their nature. And many of them we so order as they become of medicinal use. See, right? By art. By art. We have also means to make divers plants rise by mixtures of earths without seeds, and likewise to make divers new plants, differing from the vulgar, and to make one tree or plant turn into another. We have also parks and enclosures of all sorts of beasts and birds, which we use not only for view or rareness, but likewise for dissections and trials, that thereby we may take light what may be wrought upon the body of man, wherein we find many strange effects, as continuing life in them, though divers parts, which you account vital, be perished and taken forth, resuscitating of some that seem dead in appearance, and the like. Enclosures of beasts and birds. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan of, yeah. I mean, I do understand how much we've learned through experimentation on animals. I don't like it. I don't think that we have any right to do that. Man, this paragraph's starting to make me feel uncomfortable. It is. The one before, too. I mean, I guess, we write the story. We are the creators who created ourselves. Resuscitating of some of that seem dead in appearance, and the like. We try also all poisons and other medicines upon them, as well of chirurgery, 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 as psychic. Well, I'll finish this out and then I'll look that word up. By art likewise, we make them greater or taller than their kind is, and contrariwise dwarf them, and stay their growth. We make them more fruitful and bearing than their kind is, and contrariwise barren and not generative. Also we make them differ in color, shape, activity, many ways. We find means to make commixtures and copulations of different kinds, which have produced many new kinds, and them not barren, as the general opinion is. We make a number of kinds of serpents, worms, flies, fishes, of putrefaction, whereof some are advanced, in effect, to be perfect creatures, like beasts or birds, and have sexes, and do propagate. Neither do we this by chance, but we know beforehand of what matter and commixture what kind of those creatures will arise. This feels like Jurassic Park. Oh. Okay, right. Okay, so that word. Where is it? Chirurgery. 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 Hey, come on. Here we go. You know, I should get one of those pads for my mouse because it's like tearing up my desk. It doesn't work very well. It's so noisy. It works. Okay. Chirurgery. Contrary-wise. There you are. CHIR. URERY. Is it chirurg? ERY, yeah. Yeah. Surgery. It's archaic. Dang, that's awesome. Do you say it like that? How do you pronounce it? Surgery? Chirurgery? Surgery is derived from an earlier name, chirurgery, which means handwork. Handwork. I just got a new Oracle deck, and it's about the mudras and awakening the energy body. Hand movements. Surgery. Handwork. The study of skin staples and conventional sutures for abdominal. Chirurgery. How do we say this cool word? Chirurgery. Pronunciation. That's the one.
Surgery. Surgery.
You just say surgery? I don't know.
CHIRURGERY. Surgery.
Chirurgery. It's chirurgery. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Chirurgery. It is cool. I love it. Chirurgery. I like it so much. Oh, dang. I think I need to fish this out of here now. I don't think that it's imparting any more in my drink. Cool. So it says, we try also all poisons and other medicines upon them, as well of chirurgery, as physic. Oh, I think I said psychic. Okay. So neither do we do this by chance, but we know beforehand of what matter and commixture what kind of these creatures will arise. We have also particular pools where we make trials upon fishes, as we have said before of beasts and birds. We have also places for breed and generation of these kinds of worms and flies, which are of special use, such as are with you your silkworms and bees. I will not hold you long with recounting of our brew houses, bake houses, and kitchens. There are made divers drinks, breads, and meats, rare and of special effects. Wines we have of grapes, and drinks of other juice of fruits, of grains, and of roots, and of mixtures with honey, sugar, manna, and fruits dried and decocted. Also of the tears or woundings of trees, and of the pulp of canes. Wow, I love that, the way this like maceration. And these drinks are of several ages, some to the age or last of 40 years. We have drinks also brewed with several herbs and roots and spices, yea, with several fleshes and white meats, whereof some of the drinks are such, and they are in effect meat and drink both. Ew! So that divers, especially in age, ew, dude, that grosses me out pretty hard. Gross. Ew. Ew. I mean, I guess I do like broth sometimes. I really like vegetable broth. Gross. Ooh. Okay, I'm okay. We do desire to live with them with little or no meat or bread. Okay, wait. So it says, so that divers, especially in age, do desire to live with them with little or no meat or bread. And above all, we strive to have drink of extreme thin parts, to insinuate into the body, and yet without all biting, sharpness, or fretting, insomuch as some of them put upon the back of your hand will, with a little say, pass through to the palm, and yet taste mild to the mouth. Wow, this is so cool and weird how, I mean, like I just started juicing today, and we have also waters which we ripen in that fashion as they become nourishing. Wow, waters that we ripen as they become nourishing, so that they are indeed excellent drink. And many will use no other. Breads we have of several grains, roots, and kernels, yea, and some of the flesh and fish dried, with divers kinds of leavenings and seasonings, so that some do extremely move appetites, some do nourish so, as divers do live of them, without any other meat, who live very long. So for meats, we have some of them so beaten and made tender and mortified, yet without all corrupting, as a weak heat of the stomach will turn them into good chylus, chylus, as well as strong heat would meat otherwise prepared. We have some meats also, and breads and drinks, which taken by men, enable them to fast long after, and some other that used make the very flesh of men's bodies sensibly more hard and tough, and their strength far greater than otherwise it would be. Did you ever see that movie Ravenous? I bet it's a book. I should check it out. Okay. Where are we at? Yeah. We have dispensatories or shops of medicines, wherein you may easily think, if we have such variety of plants and living creatures, more than you have in Europe, for we know what you have, the simples, drugs, and ingredients of medicines must likewise be in so much the greater variety. We have them likewise of divers ages, and long fermentations. And for their preparations, we have not only all manners of exquisite distillations and separations, and especially by gentle heats and percolations through divers strainers, yea, the substances, but also exact forms of composition, whereby they incorporate almost as they were natural simples. Wow. I don't know. It's interesting. We have also divers mechanical arts, which you have not, and stuffs made by them, as papers, linen, silks, tissues, dainty works of feathers and wonderful luster, excellent dyes, and many others, and shops likewise, as well for such as are not brought into vulgar use amongst us, as for those that are. For you must know that of the things before recited, many of them are grown into use throughout the kingdom. Many of them are grown into use throughout the kingdom. But yet, if they did flow from our invention, we have of them also for patterns and principles. We have also furnaces of great diversities, and that keep great diversity of heats, fierce and quick, strong and constant, soft and mild, blown, quiet, dry, moist, and the like. But above all, we have heats, in imitation of the sun's and heavenly bodies' heats, that pass divers inequalities, as it were, orbs, progresses, and returns, whereby we produce admirable effects. Besides, we have heats of dungs, and of bellies and maws of living creatures, and of their bodies and bloods, and of hays and herbs laid up moist, of lime unquenched, and such like. Instruments also which generate heat only by motion, and farther, places for strong insulations, and again, places under the earth, which by nature or art yield heat. These divers heats we use, as the nature of the operation which we intend requireth. We have also perspective houses, where we make demonstrations of all lights and radiations, and of all colors, and out of things uncolored and transparent, we can represent unto you all several colors, not in rainbows, as it is in gems and prisms, but of themselves single. We represent also all multiplications of light, which we carry into great distance, and make so sharp as to discern small points and lines, also all colorations of light, all delusions and deceits of the sight, in figures, magnitudes, motions, colors, all demonstrations of shadows. We find also divers means, yet unknown to you, of producing of light originally from divers bodies. We procure means of seeing objects afar off, as in the heaven and remote places, and represent things near as afar off, and things afar off as near, making feigned distances. Fiend. We have also helps for the sight, far above spectacles and glasses in use. We have also glasses and means to see small and minute bodies perfectly and distinctly, as the shapes and colors of small flies and worms, grains and flaws and gems, which cannot otherwise be seen, observations in urine and blood not otherwise to be seen. We make artificial rainbows, halos, and circles about light. We represent also all manners of reflections, refractions, and multiplications of visual beams of objects. We have also precious stones of all kinds, many of them of great beauty, and to you unknown, crystals likewise, and glasses of divers kinds, and amongst them some of metals vitrificated, and others and other materials besides those of which you make glass. Also a number of fossils and imperfect minerals which you have not, likewise lodestones of prodigious virtue, and other rare stones, both natural and artificial. So that's the third time I came across lodestones this week. So just another note, I gotta get a lodestone. We have also sound horses, where we practice and demonstrate all sounds and their generation. We have harmonies with which you have not, of quarter sounds and lesser slides of sound. Divers instruments of music likewise, to you unknown, some sweeter than any you have, together with bells and rings that are dainty and sweet. We represent small sounds as great and deep, likewise great sounds extenuate and sharp. We make divers tremblings and warblings of sounds, which in their original are entire. We represent and imitate all articulate sounds and letters, and the voices and notes of beasts and birds. We have certain helps which, set to the ear, do further the hearing greatly. We have also divers strange and artificial echoes, reflecting the voice many times, and as it were tossing it, and some that give back the voice louder than it came, some shriller, and some deeper, yea, some rendered the voice differing in the letters or articulate sound from that they receive. We have also means to convey sounds in trunks and pipes, and strange lines and distances. We have also perfume houses, wherein we join also practices of taste. We multiply smells, which may seem strange. We imitate smells, making all smells to breathe out of other mixtures than those that give them. We make divers imitations of taste likewise, so that they will deceive any man's taste. And in this house we contain also a confiture house, where we make all sweet meats, dry and moist, and divers pleasant wines, milks, broths, and salays, in far greater variety than you have. We have also engine houses, where are prepared engines and instruments for all sorts of motions. There we imitate and practice to make swifter motions than any you have, either out of your muskets or any engine that you have, and to make them and multiply them more easily and with small force, by wheels and other means, and to make them stronger and more violent than yours are, exceeding your greatest cannons and basilisks. We represent also ordnance and instruments of war, and engines of all kinds, and likewise new mixtures and compositions of gunpowder, wildfires burning in water, and unquenchable. Also fireworks of all variety, both for pleasure and use. We imitate also flights of birds. We have some degrees of flying in the air. We have ships and boats for going under water, and brooking of seas. Also swimming girdles and supporters. We have divers curious clocks, and other like motion of return, and some perpetual motions. We imitate also motions of living creatures by images of men, beasts, birds, fishes, and serpents. We have also a great number of other various motions, strange for equality, a fineness, and subtlety. We have also a mathematical house, where are represented all instruments, as well of geometry and astronomy, exquisitely made. Wow. Ooh, Masters of Kinetics. We have also houses of deceits of the senses, where we represent all manner of feats and juggling, false apparitions, impostures, and illusions, and their fallacies. And surely you will easily believe that we have so many things truly natural which induce admiration, which in a world of particulars deceive the senses, if we would disguise those things and labor to make them seem more miraculous. But we do hate all impostures and lies, insomuch as we have severely forbidden it to all of our fellows, under pain of ignominy and fines, and that they do not show any natural work or thing, adorned or swelling, but only pure as it is, and without all affection of strangeness. These are, my son, the riches of Salomon's house. For the several employments and offices of our fellows, we have 12 that sail into foreign countries, under the names of other nations. For our own we conceal, who bring us the books, the abstracts, the patterns of experiments of all other parts. These we call merchants of light. We have 3 that collect the experiments, which are in all books, and we call depredators. Oh, I said I saw something. We have 3 that collect the experiments of all mechanical arts, and also of liberal sciences, and also of practices which are not brought into arts. These we call mystery men. We have 3 that try new experiments, such as themselves think good. These we call pioneers or miners. We have 3 that draw the experiments of the former 4 into titles and tables, to give the better light for the drawing of observation and axioms out of them. These we call compilers. So mysterymen, pioneers or miners, and compilers. We have 3 that bend themselves. Oh, another 3. Looking into the experiments for the 12? For the 3. We have 3 that bend themselves, looking into the experiments of their fellows, and cast about how to draw out of them things of use and practice for man's life and knowledge, as well for works as for plain demonstration of causes, means of natural divinations, and the easy and clear discovery of the virtues and parts of bodies. These we call dowrymen or benefactors. I thought I just saw the word sassafras up there. I love that word. Mystery men, pioneers, compilers, and benefactors. Then after divers meeting and consults of our whole number, to consider of the former labors and collections, we have 3 that take care out of them to direct new experiments of a higher light, more penetrating into nature than the former. These we call lamps. Oh my gosh! We have 3 others that do execute the experiments so directed and report them. We call inoculators. For some reason, as I'm reading all of this awesomeness right here, there was this guy. What was his name? Like, I used to see him. He used to have like ads all the time on YouTube, and crap. He was, dang it. He was like an entrepreneur. Ty Lopez. There was one of these commercials that I saw of his where he talked about KSE, knowledge, strategy, execution. And I've just been thinking about the KSE a lot this week, and I don't know. It's coming to me now again. Okay. The inoculators, the lamps, the benefactors, the compilers, the pioneers, and the mystery men. What else? Lastly, we have three that raise the former discoveries by experiments into greater observations, axioms, and aphorisms. These we call interpreters of nature. Dang! We have also, as you must think, novices and apprentices, that the succession of the former employed men do not fail, besides a great number of servants and attendants, men and women. And this we do also. We have consultations, which of the inventions and experiences which we have discovered shall be published, and which not, and take all an oath of secrecy for the concealing of those which we think fit to keep secret. Though some of those we do reveal sometimes to the state and some not. For our ordinances and rites, we have two very long and fair galleries. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I have no idea where I was, dang it. All right, I'll just start from the top. For our ordinances and rites, we have two very long and fair galleries. In one of these, we place patterns and samples of all manner of the more rare and excellent inventions. In the other, we place the status of all principal inventors. There we have the statue of your Columbus that discovered the West Indies. What? Come on. Also, the inventor of ships, your monk that was the inventor of ordnance and of gunpowder, the inventor of music, the inventor of letters, the inventor of printing, the inventor of observations and of astronomy, the inventor of works in metal, the inventor of glass, the inventor of silk of the worm, the inventor of wine, the inventor of corn and bread, the inventor of sugars, and all these, by more certain tradition than you have. Then have we divers inventors of our own, of excellent works, which since you have not seen, it were too long to make descriptions of them. And besides, in the right understanding of those descriptions, you might easily err. For upon every oh, wait a second. Sorry. I'll continue. I'm just having other thoughts about that. I'm having a problem with Columbus. Okay. And besides, in the right understanding of those descriptions, you might easily err. For upon every invention of value, we erect a statue to the inventor and give him a liberal and honorable reward. These statues are some of brass, some of marble and touchstone, some of cedar and other special woods, gilt and adorned, some of iron, some of silver, some of gold. We have certain hymns and services, which we say daily, of Lord and thanks to God for his marvelous works and forms of prayers, imploring his aid and blessings for the illumination of our labors and the turning of them into good and holy uses. Lastly, we have circuits or visits of divers principal cities of the kingdom. Do you think this is why Ralph Smart says diving deep? Divers. Lastly, we have circuits or visits of divers principal cities of the kingdom, where, as it cometh to pass, we do publish such new profitable inventions as we think good. I mean, what's profitable to them, though? I thought it was like knowledge. Well, then that's it, right? And we do also declare natural divinations of diseases, plagues, swarms of hurtful creatures, scarcity, tempests, earthquakes, great inundations, comets, temperature of the year, and divers other things. And we give counsel thereupon, what the people shall do for the prevention and remedy of them. And when he had said this, he stood up, and I, as I had been taught, kneeled down, and he laid his right hand upon my head and said, God bless thee, my son, and God bless this relation which I have made. I give thee leave to publish it for the good of other nations. For we here are in God's bosom, a land unknown. And so he left me, having assigned a value of about 2,000 ducats for a bounty to me and my fellows. For they give great largesses where they come upon all occasions. That's the last sentence. Balls that I had to say it so awesomely. I can't remember. I looked up that word recently too. Does it mean like the goodness, or for they give great largesses where they come upon all occasions. The end. Wow. Well, dang. It just makes you wonder how much of that is true. Sir Francis Bacon, Shakespeare, whoever you are. I mean, how much role did Sir Francis Bacon or Shakespeare play in Columbus and the making of that story? Because then that would be why he wrote that. Because he's still, he's a big part of a lot of stuff. So, I mean, what is it? I wonder. We've come farther since then, but there's still so much in here. There was stuff in here that I didn't resonate with, though, but there was so much in here that I was just like, whoa! Oh my goodness. I love your company too, and I love the read too. This wee little book. Yeah, 1 hour and 38 minutes. So I love y'all's, and I think I'm gonna actually read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck next. It just came in. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life by Mark Manson. Over 1 million copies sold. I mean, all right. I love yous, and I appreciate you. I believe in us, and until next time, mwah, I will see you then. Thank you.